Well, I wasn't able to source a basket that was white with the checkerboard pattern holes in the on the inside, but I did manage to find a nice white basket, newer style with the spirals, of course, and it's used. I bought it for 20 bucks. It's gonna need some reconditioning, as you can obviously tell, but upon feeling it, at least like this one, I could wobble it around and move it. This one feels solid all around. I just gotta clean all that rust off. Um, Clean the bottom off as well. I probably should inspect the underside of that too to see where we're at on rust, and then probably just end up removing that filter altogether, because really all that seemed to do for a lot of people. Ooh, I never even looked inside here. That's yeah, that's gonna be fun. Um, a lot of people who've worked on these machines have just said left and right that all those lint filters just do is trap water in between the filter and the tub, causing it to rust out, and that just traps the rust, which in turn creates more rust. So, and that just seems to be true pretty much in every case I've looked at a tub that has had a filter underneath it, and upon taking it off to see underneath it, this is what you get. So I'm gonna have to clean the outside as well, as you can see, of course. But for 20 bucks, this shop has a whole bunch of those, and I don't know. I guess this was the best one they had there. But for 20 bucks, that's not too bad, I'd say. Comparatively to what they go for new, I am not dishing that out for a machine that I'm just going to end up reselling here anyway. I think I am going to resell this one. I don't have any real use for it. Um, I had thought about maybe keeping it as a donor machine, but I mean, at this point, um, I don't know. It's still kind of a little up in the air, I guess, as far as what I'm going to do with it. But in the meantime, basket replacement is on the top of the list for um, on getting this machine at least workable. So, anyways, actually, and I also forgot too. They you can tell too. They left a free drive block in there with it as well. So that's kind of neat. So there's a spare drive block in case I'm ever in need of one. So I'll have to take that out and look at the condition of it and see where it's at. But yeah, so I got a new basket. In any case, so I'm going to clean everything, and then probably may end up actually doing a replacement video, like a procedure video, step by step on how to replace the basket, and show like difficulties that can come with doing that as well, as far as like getting things removed and whatnot and reinstalled back in. We'll see. I may do that here at some point, but in any case, yeah. Once again, the basket's in, so that'll be the next thing. It's cleaning everything out and putting a new one in. So that's going to do it for this particular video. So I guess I will resume this video, I guess, once it's all reassembled, and the replacement video will be its own separate thing. Well, it is 9 days later from the last part of this series on this particular machine. So I have the basket that I bought from
the used appliance shop, sitting out here on this tarp. I have it turned upside down, and I already pretty much took care of as much of the rust as I could, and so I just sprayed some Rustoleum primer on it yesterday. This is the first coat, so I'm gonna go ahead and spray a second coat on everything now, and then let that dry and cure for another day, and then come back and spray the enamel once that's all done. So, and as you can see, I had to take the grinder wheel to everything here and get as much of the surface stuff off as I could, because it was pretty well crusted on there. I had to do some work inside there with the wire wheel attachment as well. It's not perfect, and it's not going to be perfect, but it'll at least, having done that and then sprayed inside there, it should protect it from any future issues for at least a little more time. And then, so if I flip it over here and show the inside, I sprayed that center post and grinded it down as well. And yep, got a first coat on that, as you can see. So it's ready as well to be second coated. So I'm just gonna flip this here, set it there, and then I got it on a drop to spray that with. So I'm gonna do that, and then come back once I've finished that and see where we're at. Okay, I have just sprayed the second coat on. I masked off the inner walls of the tub, which is what I should have done in the first place when I did the first coat on this, but you know, it'll wipe off with a rag and some paint thinner, whatever got on there. I tried to use a shield as much as possible the first time, but this just makes it a lot easier and less cumbersome to be able to just spray this and go and be done with it. So I just have it sitting on top of the old basket, just so the bottom the bottom underside of the tub can dry while the inside's drying. So I'm gonna let that cure for a day, and then I'll come back and we'll apply the enamel. So that'll probably be 2 or 3 coats depending, but we'll see. So otherwise, that's going to do it for today. So we'll come back once we're ready to apply the actual enamel. Okay, it's the next day, and today is a little bit windy outside, so I'm going to actually do this here in my shop. Since the second coat of primer on there is dry now, I'm going to go ahead and spray the enamel on, and this is what I'm going to use for that. So I'm going to spray a first coat on here, let it dry, and then come back and spray a second coat on there and see where that brings us once I do that. So I'll come back momentarily once I finish spraying this and the inside of the drum and show you what it looks like. First coat is on. I got all of it sprayed as much as I could. Just need to let it dry. And then that's the center post. I'm not going to, well, I can show you real quick, I guess, the bottom side, what it looks like. that's all sprayed, so it's got to dry. Okay, I've got the 93 Kenmore 80 series tilted back here. I have it resting on an old bucket, 5-gallon bucket back there. I took the pump off of the motor and then took the motor and transmission out. And as you can see, I cleaned the top of the transmission off and as much of the bottom off as well was really needed anyways. And also took the clutch off so that I could clean underneath there on top of the transmission, reach in a little bit better. So I also figured out the reason it was clicking during the agitation, which I know I mentioned at some point when I was running it. I had a theory about it, which I tested and turns out was correct. The clutch spring, the band lining inside the clutch has a spring on it that is supposed to go sit inside the drum, and the brake assembly, which it's hard to tell. I should have shown this with everything out so you could sort of see better what I'm trying to explain here. But the brake always has a finger sticking down. It's the brake release cam, and it sticks down into the clutch to basically, it's for the spring to ride up against when it's in the spin cycle, and it releases the brake because of the tension being put on it from the clutch itself. So that finger is supposed to be generally out of it's supposed to be clear of hitting the clutch spring when you, like, especially when you put it back in or install it back in the machine. The general rule of thumb to follow is make sure that whatever side of the drum the brake release cam is going to be facing, make sure that the spring for the clutch is on the opposite side of that, so it doesn't basically hit it when you install it back in the machine, and it won't click and make that loud sound during the agitation like you heard it was when this was running initially. So I did that, put it back together. Everything basically is in well working order except for one thing, which, and I have the old pieces down here. I replaced the motor coupler. So this rubber isolator piece is it seems like every machine I've taken in that's had one of these, every single machine that's had one of these older style couplers with the black rubber isolator always has the same sort of issues. That's the same. It was like the same thing what we found on the 86 Kenmore 60 series machine that I sold. The same thing happened to the rubber isolator piece. And so I just went ahead and replaced the entire coupler assembly. I put a new one in, as you can see. And I'm sure I probably mentioned this before. Well, I'm sure I probably mentioned it with when I replaced it on the 86 Kenmore. I bought a 5-pack of couplers off of eBay. So it is an off-brand. Suitco is the brand, but it's otherwise, it's a motor coupler, so it'll work the same and do the same thing and do what it needs to do otherwise. So these round plastic finger pieces I generally find still hold up after all these years. It's always just seems to be the middle rubber isolator pieces that don't last very long. The 92 Kenmore in the house
has one of these, but it's you know, I'm sure if you've watched the other videos I've done on it, it has this is white, and it's not rubber, it's some sort of other, like I'm not sure exactly what it, like nylon or something of that sort. It's a more durable material than rubber, so it doesn't get this issue, and it also doesn't have this like it doesn't have these edges that get disintegrated over time, and then you end up with, like, you know, that kind of dust on the ground underneath it over time. And that's what it's from. I have pictures too I took of the transmission when it was right before I cleaned it. It was full of that, so I cleaned that all out and replaced it, and now, so it should all be working. It should be back to good working order. So I reset the clutch, like I said, cleaned it all out as best as I could from, you know, without taking everything else out unnecessarily. So now I'm going to tip this back, and once that tub finishes drying and I get the second coat on it, I'll be able to install it back in the machine. There is also something else I noticed that's going to need replaced at some point, and if I can lift it up here, if you can, you know, sort of see if it'll focus, which, yeah, right. There's problems with using a phone to record, but you can sort of tell there's barely any anything left of that wear, that snubber wear pad. So I'm gonna have to replace that, and I'll probably just get the whole set replaced, so for the hell of it, so it can be restored and back to good working order. So, and I already cleaned some of that gunk out of the outer tub. I'm gonna finish it at some point, probably later this evening. I gotta get going here though, so I'm gonna have to end the video here. So, but anyways, that's kind of a general synopsis of where we're at. So that tub, once again, this is pretty much the same from where I left it yesterday. So I'm gonna spray a second coat on it here in a few more hours once it's fully cured for the first coat, and that'll be that. So we'll come back once all that's said and done. So it's probably like about a day and a half later. I just sprayed the second coat of enamel on here, as you can see. So that's dry now. So sprayed it on the bottom side as well. So that's sitting. I'm gonna probably let this sit about a week to let it fully cure, and then I'll test it, put it in the machine, see how it does. I've never had to do anything like this to a machine. Never had to patch a tub before, so we'll see how it holds up. See how the Rustoleum stuff works underwater. So yeah, with that being said, we'll be back in about a week or so.